Hello, this is Dr. RoboCoach with a review of Fantasy Pros Auction Draft Simulator. Um, and before I forget, please like and subscribe down below. So uh, if you buy the package from Fantasy Pros, it will sync with your league and pull in your league configuration. And that's what you're seeing right here. So my league is called Junto. It's with CBS Sports Line and so it pulls in the league configuration from them. I've talked about this in previous draft settings, previous videos, I should say, that I'm not happy about the way it pulled it in. It pulled it me in as just a standard PPR. I'm not a standard PPR. So, yeah, there's idiosyncrasies involved with my um, league. But in any event, there's a little bug here with Fantasy Pros, and that when I tell it I want it to load my configuration, it forces me into a snake draft, and I want to get to an auction draft. So in order to do that, I have to back out. Um, I Bugs happen. It's all right. I won't hold it against Fantasy Pros. So let's go back into the auction simulator, and in order to do that, I have to back out um, here and then click Start Auction Draft, and now auction is highlighted. And don't dare select this, my league again, because then the bug will reappear. So that means I have to sort of have set these things by hand. There are 18 teams in my league, and my draft position is seventh. So not so great that I have to do all this. One QB, two running backs. That's correct, correct, correct. One DST, one kicker, five bench. Correct, correct, correct. So then I can, now it asks me, what do I want to use for my default cheat sheet? And this is the latest Fantasy Pros ECR, which is expert consensus ranking. So that's going to be my cheat sheet. I don't like rankings by experts because, well, for one, what were there, it's not tailored for my league. And for two, experts tend to think they have more sensitivity than they really do, in which they claim that they can tell the difference between uh, a a fourth round pick and a fifth round pick and a sixth round pick. And the question I would always ask them, are you sure about that? And if they were to be honest, they don't know. They don't have that kind of sensitivity. They probably can tell you that somebody's the difference between maybe three groups of players, four groups of players, like top shelf, second shelf, third shelf, etc. But I digress. So let's start the draft. And here it is. So once again, not tailored to my scoring rules, even if it did allow me to pull them in. Um, but it gives you a rough idea of what you can expect. Now, it's going through a draft. DeAndre Hopkins is on the block, and there's a clock on DeAndre, and it go every time somebody bids, the clock is reset, and the bid goes up, and it gives you a recommended bid for DeAndre over here, and then there's a bid amount over there. So this is, the recommended bid is from your cheat sheet, from that expected consensus ranking. That's your cheat sheet. It's helping you there. And it's going to go through, and that's about it. You've sort of seen it. It's going to repeat this for every single player now. And I can play against the AI, which is doing the bidding right now, and sort of practice and become good at it. Um, and but I'm not really interested in becoming good. Uh, and I'll explain why that is in a little bit. So let's just let it auto draft. So there's a button up here, and I can just say auto draft, and it's going to go through and it's going to bid on my team and give me all these players. And then it's going to give me a high grade because I followed the expert consensus rankings, of course, because that's what the auto draft does. It's rating me by its own rubric. So, of course, since it used the rubric to pick up my players, I get a high grade. Anyway, to get out of this screen, you have to click off on the side, which was kind of hard for me to figure out at first, and then I can analyze the results, but you just saw that. And then it gives me, a cheat sheet creator. I cover that in another video. And the live draft assistant, I covered that in that's for a snake draft, but I cover that in another review video. So that's pretty much it. So I can start over if I want. And so let's do that. And I'll talk a little bit more about what's going on here. So you just come through and start draft again. So uh, my main complaint with this, uh, and I can't really hold Fantasy Pros themselves to blame for this because the tool does what it says it does. It's a mock auction draft. It's for you to come in and practice an auction draft, just like a mock auction snake is for you to practice in a snake draft. And my complaint with that is uh, why why not just offer the player? So the example I like to use, if this were a game of chess and it were for money, would you like to practice dozens and dozens of times, maybe before you became good at auction drafting, or would you just or excuse me, if it were chess, um, till you became good at chess, or would you just like to have the chess master AI make your moves for you? I mean, it's for money. I think it's a no-brainer. You would have the chess master AI make your moves for you, and you would pick up the winner's check at the end because you can't beat a computer at chess. It's that simple. And the same is true for fantasy football. It's basically there's no real big difference between it and chess. It's about math, really, and probability and statistics. And so computers are going to beat you. And so why not just let a computer make your picks for you? Why practice in a mock draft auction? But if that's your thing and you want to try, then I say go right ahead. Um, and if you enjoy that sort of thing, then this is your tool. Um, but in terms of artificial intelligence, this is not artificial intelligence. It's not going to help you on your draft day. It's just helping you practice so that you can be good instead of having a computer that'll help you and you don't have to be good. Um, I discussed that in more depth in my draft assistant video, which you can see. But then they're not, when it comes to draft day assistance, I have yet to find a tool other than those offered at FantasyFootballDraft.com that can actually help you on draft day in an auction draft. It may be the only one, but I will continue to look. Um, and so this is not a draft day assistant, and I would say that the actual draft day assistant that it offered is also not a draft day assistant. It's just a glorified cheat sheet that keeps track and crosses players off for you. Um, the nice thing that it does do for you, the other draft assistant, is it gives you value-based draft and it suggests picks based upon the value-based draft. But it doesn't allow you do any simulation to predict any sort of intelligent moves that you should be making. So in that respect, it's really just a dumb tool that's only as good as the person operating the tool. So this has been Dr. RoboCoach with a review of the Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard. Um, it's a great mock auction tool, not so great in terms of artificial intelligence. And thank you very much. Please like this video and subscribe, and good luck in your 2019 season.